Hi everybody, I'm Suzanne. In today's video we're going to paint some Japanese koi fish. Now here's the completed piece, and it was a fun piece to do. What can I say? Anytime I get to use cadmium yellows, cadmium reds, all these fun colors, it makes for a fun painting day for Sue. And I was fortunate enough to use references for these fish from my friend Linda Fontaine, who actually was in Japan and photographed these fish at the Imperial Palace in Japan. So it's cool, right? It's just a neat piece. And these little, I don't know, they're just so graceful. When you get to watch koi swim, they're just graceful and beautiful and colorful and fun, and that's what I want today's painting to be all about. So I'm glad you're here. If you're my subscribers, as always, thank you so much for your time, and if you're not, please consider subscribing. I also have a wonderful mentorship program on my YouTube channel where you get to, if you need help with one of your paintings, I'm kind of like a great little painting coach mentor person. So I can help you with critiques on your work. I can help you with color selection. I can help you with options that might actually improve your painting. So check that out too. And yeah, let's get into this painting of Japanese koi.
Here is one of the references I'll be using to do the koi fish. My very, very good friend Linda had an opportunity to be in Japan, and she photographed these fish at the Imperial Palace's pond, I suppose. And I'll be working from mainly this photo reference as well as several other photo references to do this koi fish painting. Now, the palette. Whoop! Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and explain why I have it laid out this way. These are very transparent colors. I have Payne's Gray, Ivory Black, and Phthalo Green. These are all Winsor Newton colors. I have, oh goodness, what is this yellow? Yellow Lake by Michael Harding. Also, this is a transparent yellow. Now over here, I have my opaque colors. I have Titanium White, which is Winsor Newton. I have Cad Yellow, which is Blue Ridge. Winsor Orange, which is Winsor Newton. This is, oh, I'm sorry, no. This is Yellow Lake, which is Michael Harding. This is Winsor Orange by Winsor Newton. I have a bunch of Cad Reds. Oh, wait a second. No, I don't. Yes, this is Cad Red Deep by Richardson. This is Pyrrol Red by Michael Harding. Cad Red Light by Blue Ridge, and Titanium White by Winsor Newton. So I want to go transparent because at first, obviously, just because I want the background and everything to be soft and mixable and transparent. And I need the opaque colors too, just to lay it down. But I really see this becoming very abstract. And you know what? I'm doing this one for me, folks, and I'm ready to have some fun. All right, here's our substrate. It is a canvas linen blend. This is by Blank Inspiration. Of course, I've been using a lot of their products lately, and I've got one of their big canvas frame combos that I'm excited to start on. But this is a 16 by 16. Again, here is my photo reference and my palette, and we're gonna go ahead and jump in. On a wash of it's just Indian Yellow and Gamsol. And I'm just kind of, wiping out the shapes of the fish where I want them to go. Now, I have that wonderful reference that Linda provided, but I'm using it loosely. I'm really packing my fish in, and I want to incorporate the movement, so I'm wiping out some of the water. Now, I'm using another transparent color. Of course, this is the phthalo green and blue mixture, and just kind of carving out the shapes of my fish. So I'm leaving the fish blank, so to speak, and just kind of painting the water around them. I want to be able to incorporate everything in with soft edges, especially initially when you see that I'm going to be wiping out areas of fish that are underneath the other fish, and I need to have that wet paint to be to give my soft edges. So you can see I'm putting in the cad red. Now, since the cad red is a opaque color, it's going on right over everything, but I do want it to be a little bit cooled because these fish that I'm painting in now are directly under the fish above them. So I want those soft edges. I want some of them to disappear. I just want them to just kind of, feel like they're underneath the other fish. I like to keep my cads pure. And that is why, like here, you see me going in there with straight. It's actually a combination of the cad yellow and the Indian yellow mixture. And you can see here, I'm just wanting to go, I'm creating that soft edge. You can see how I'm getting it into that wet paint. And as soon as you see a little bit of blue paint showing up on my brush, I go wipe it off. And I keep going back and forth with more color, and as soon as I start picking up some more of that blue, I go back to my rag and wipe it off. I'm constantly wiping my brush. So you see I'm wanting to go into that, but now I'm wiping my brush off because I got blue paint on it. I do want the soft edge, but I want to keep my colors clean. See how I just pulled a little bit of that blue in there? It's going to be okay. But I know that this part of the tail is kind of underwater, so I want it to be somewhat diffuse. And that is just, that action of just working the wet values, and I want the cool value kind of going in here, and the way that the tail might swish, the spine of the fish will remain. As you can see, I'm kind of putting in the spine of that fish in now. But I'm keeping all those edges as soft as I can, trying to incorporate all those many fins, because koi have, all fish have a lot of fins. You've got pectorals and ventral fins, and then you have another set of fins even further back. So we've got all these fins, and I've got to get those in as well. And they all need to overlap. I'm just having fun with all this water, and so I'm actually painting in the reflection first and then painting the darker color in beside it. I'm not going through it, I'm just painting up to it and then blending the edges. And I keep going through this over and over. That same process I continue with. Meanwhile, I'm putting the little light values on top and the little ripples and all that fun stuff. And here you can see this is the color that I'm using. And it is the phthalo blues and phthalo greens and all those transparent colors I started with. And I love to look at this palette because cadmiums just excite me. And just looking at all these rich colors and knowing how to manipulate your opaques and your transparents and make them work together is really key to a lot of successful paintings, I think. And you can see where I've got my darker or cooler values of my CAD by mixing either ivory black and making shades, or sometimes I'm actually using a color like alizarin crimson, which is a transparent color, but it is a cool red. So I'll kind of manipulate those a little bit. And again, getting those fins in, trying to figure out where everything's going. It's just fun. I'm looking at also my negative space, and I I protect that negative space. And if the negative space is like the areas between the fish, I want those to really stand out. And I am just kind of putting in a little bit of, the details in where I can put them in, and just moving around. Now you can see the brush I'm using is actually an Egbert. It's a ivory Egbert by Rosemary. Now you can see I'm putting the calico fish's tail underneath the other fish's tail. So that's that big gray mass that you see. So, it's funny. You have to know how to manipulate or layer your fish. And you can see I was actually using a soft brush just to kind of blend that water in a little bit. Here's a little detail picture. Whoops, a little bit out of focus, I'm afraid. But you can see the soft edge. That's kind of nice. I'm zooming in so you can see the soft edge where the fish touches the water. And I'm using a cooler yellow to delineate the spine of the fish. All that is factored in. You gotta kind of play it up a little bit. And, right now you can see these fish are very basic, but some have more detail. And I'm moving around the piece. And, yeah, I'm just trying to make you dizzy. I'm trying to dazzle you with my cinematography here. Are you dazzled or are you just dizzy? But you can see, I've got that I'm deliberately splitting my distance here between wet and dry paint. Or I should say between the two paints, so I can have a soft edge where the yellow fish touches the calico fish. I'm always trying to create soft edges if I can. If it's something that is doable, I do like a soft edge. And again, putting in more fins. Sometimes you have to get all this in before you can do all the detail, because you don't know what negative space you're going to lose, whatever. So this is me just trying to work it all in. I play both sides of the fence here between blocking in and detail at the same time, because I'm moving through the piece, and as I can from fish to fish, where fishes are touching, I need to make sure that I complete them at the same time, if that makes sense. Now getting more detail into this other calico fish, and you can see how I will layer up the color, putting in the tail and then actually suggesting where the scales of the fish are going, but I've got to work the water at the same time. So I'm going back and forth between, there's so many layers because it's painted in water, right? If you just think of what water would be like, it's layer upon layer. You've got fishes under other fishes, and you have the surface water and reflection. And some of these fish are actually surface to the point where their faces are out of water. If you've ever fed koi, they basically come right out of the water to get the food. So you'll see I'll end up doing ringlets of water around some of these fish, where you can tell that they're, some of maybe their head or the top of their back is actually above water. So, carp are basically bottom feeders. A lot like catfish, they've got those little barbels on the ends of their face so they can help feel the surface. Believe it or not, I had a ball painting these bubbles. It's silly as it sounds, but those, of course, would be on the surface of the water. And, bubbles were fun to paint. And again, I keep trying to incorporate water movement here. So you can see through the reflections that I'm starting to get that look. Here's the finished piece. Now, what I was trying to capture is the movement of water. Now, if you've ever watched a swarm of koi, a school of koi, a bunch of koi, whatever the term, when they're moving through water, and especially at feeding time, they really churn the water up pretty good. And, being able to convey the idea that these fish are actually in water, and that there's layers and layers of fish, because there's fish deeper in the water and some that are right on the surface. Some of them are actually out of the water, at least partially. So trying to convey all the different layers was somewhat challenging. I liked doing the bubbles. As silly as that sounds, the bubbles on the surface of the water were really fun to paint. I tried to leave strokes a little bit bolder, a little bit hard, you know, I just wanted to have fun with this piece. This one was, as I say, one that I did for me because it just was going to be fun for me. And as I said before, anytime I get to work with cadmiums, it's a party. It's a party for me. I really enjoy it. So again, folks, if you have any questions about anything I covered in today's video, please do not hesitate to ask, leave in the comment section. And I'm pretty good about getting right back to you. So there you go.
We kind of ran through that pretty fast, didn't we? But hopefully I was able to explain everything that I was doing and, you know, the colors I was using, etc. You can always ask questions and leave it in the comment section below. Actually, I encourage that because it lets me get to know you. I'm always talking to this, in my case, a camera, but I'm talking to you, and I like to know who you are. So leave me a comment in the comment section. And just say hi, you know, just say hi. But if you have a question, I'll answer it for you as best I can. This painting probably took about maybe a week, maybe less than a week to do. But oftentimes I'm doing paintings and I'm doing them for a little bit of time, and then I have to switch off to another piece, or I'm doing a teaching. I have a teaching moment that I'm working with students or whatever. So there's oftentimes those opportunities where I have to kind of pull off a painting. But I think overall the time that went into it was probably maybe 20 hours, maybe a little less. It's hard to say. This is painted on a wonderful substrate by the company Blank Inspirations, and it is a linen canvas blend. And I know I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, but I will leave the link to them in the comment section, not in the comment section, I'm sorry, in the description of today's video. And you can see I use a lot of their substrates because they come with a frame. I like that. And speaking of Blank Inspirations, I will be on their podcast tomorrow. So when this video airs, it might be like today. I'll be on their podcast today. So I'll be, so be able to check them out. Please check them out. You can find them on Instagram as well. I'll leave a link to both the social media spots that I know that I work with and their website. So be sure to check them out. I think you would like the product. It's a neat product. But yeah, again, thanks for subscribing if you're a subscriber, and if you're not, go ahead and subscribe. Smash the like button. All your engagement helps me immensely. So I hope you can go ahead and do that for me. And I guess until next time, from Kingsport, Tennessee, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you. Bye.